Hello, everyone. My name is Braden. This is Airless Quill 9, and in today's video, we are going to talk about the Aboleth, these ageless alien masterminds that can be found in the Underdark and underwater depths. This particular illustration of the Aboleth is given us by artist Kev Walker, and it is an illustration showing a gnome cultist consulting an all-knowing Aboleth. Treasures that can normally be found on Aboleths, according to the 2024 Monster Manual, are relics, and you can determine what relics an Aboleth might have on its person by rolling on the relics table in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. In the 2024 Monster Manual, this is the information that we are given concerning the Aboleth. In aquatic abysses, Aboleths dream of dead empires and orchestrate plots that unfold across ages. These elusive, amphibious immortals psychically and mentally overwhelm their victims and transform creatures with a slimy, aberrant infection, reshaping other beings to serve them beneath the waves. Aboleths possess terrifying intellects and have alien mindsets. These creatures possess perfect memories of proto-worlds and incomprehensible dominions from the multiverse's earliest eons. Their secrets are innumerable and unfathomable. Aboleths lurk in places awash in primordial mysteries, the ruins of aquatic empires, hidden magical nexuses, or weak places between planes of existence. In these layers, Aboleths dream of epochs past, collect throngs of psychically dominated servants, consume the minds of unwitting victims, and prepare for their return to power. Aboleth's alien goals and methods are often mysterious to other creatures. There is a table in the 2024 Monster Manual that we are able to roll on to inspire dungeon masters about what an Aboleth schemes might be. This 1d6 table has the following options of what the Aboleth might seek to do: accomplish incomprehensible plans that lead it to act in seemingly random ways, learn more of the world by kidnapping people and consuming their minds, manipulate innocence into worshiping it as a god by using its telepathy from hiding, open a gate to the distant past or future, releasing an invasion from another time, rouse a dragon turtle, a kraken, or another sea monster to flood a coastal city, or possibly trick treasure hunters into recovering relics from its long fallen empire. Also present in the 2024 Monster Manual is information on Aboleth lairs. Aboleths usually dwell in submerged ruins and caverns. They keep air-filled spaces for their terrestrial servants, and they hold treasures that would be damaged by water. The region containing an Aboleth's lair is warped by it, creating the following effects: foul water. Water sources within 1 mile of the lair are supernaturally fouled. Creatures other than the Aboleth and its allies that drink such water must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or have the poison condition for 1 hour. Psionic projection. While in its lair, the Aboleth can cast Project Image, requiring no spell components and using intelligence as the spellcasting ability. Spell save DC 16. When casting the spell this way, the spell's range is 1 mile, and the Aboleth can use its telepathy as if it were in the illusion space. For those unaware, Project Image usually, traditionally, has a range of 500 miles. It creates an illusory copy of the caster that lasts for the duration, which is concentration up to a day. So this is a simple way of the Aboleth communicating with creatures within its lair, which is pretty interesting. If the Aboleth dies or moves its lair elsewhere, these effects will end immediately. With that being said, let's get on to the stat block of the Aboleth itself and discuss the changes that have been made to it since its 2014 release. So the Aboleth is a large aberration of lawful evil alignment. Like its 2014 counterpart, it has an armor class of 17, but in the 2024 stat block, it has 150 average hit points, which come from 20 d10 plus 40. This is an increase from its old counterpart, which had 135 hit points, or only 18 d10 hit dice. Its speeds are still the same, with a 10-foot movement speed and a swim speed of 40 feet. The 2024 version of the Aboleth, however, has a +7 to initiative, or a static initiative score of 17. For ability scores, the Aboleth has a strength score of 21, a dexterity score of 9, a constitution score of 15, an intelligence score of 18, a wisdom score of 15, and a charisma score of 18. Unlike its 2014 counterpart, this updated version of the Aboleth has proficiency in dexterity saving throws, as well as constitution, intelligence, and wisdom saving throws. The old version of the Aboleth did not have proficiency in dexterity saving throws, but this new 2024 revision does. For skills, the Aboleth has a +12 to history and a +10 to perception. It has dark vision 120 feet, a passive perception of 20, and the languages it most commonly knows are deep speech, and it has a telepathy with a range of 120 feet. The Aboleth is a CR10 creature, granting 5,900 experience or 7,200 experience if fought in its lair. And the Aboleth has a proficiency bonus of +4. For traits, the Aboleth has the amphibious trait, which lets it breathe both air and water. It has a new trait called Eldritch Restoration. If destroyed, the Aboleth gains a new body in 5d10 days, reviving with all its hit points in the Far Realm or another location chosen by the Dungeon Master. Unlike its 2014 counterpart, the 2024 Aboleth has legendary resistance, 3 per day or 4 per day if fought in its lair. If the Aboleth fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. This is a very good defensive ability, or defensive ability. Also, the Aboleth has the mucus cloud trait. While underwater, the Aboleth is surrounded by mucus. Constitution saving throw DC 14, each creature in a 5-foot emanation originating from the Aboleth at the end of the Aboleth's turn. On a failure, the target is cursed. Until the curse ends, the target's skin becomes slimy. The target can breathe air and water, and it can't regain hit points unless it is underwater. While the cursed creature is outside a body of water, the creature takes 1d12 acid damage at the end of every 10 minutes, unless moisture is applied to its skin before those minutes have passed. And finally, the last trait the Aboleth has is probing telepathy. If a creature the Aboleth can see communicates telepathically with the Aboleth learns the creature's greatest desires. For actions, the Aboleth has an updated multi-attack, which allows it to make 2 tentacle attacks and use either Consume Memories or Dominate Mind, if it's available. The tentacle attack is a melee attack roll, +9 to hit, reach 15 feet. On a hit, it deals 2d6 plus 5 bludgeoning damage, and if the target is a large or smaller creature, it gains the grappled condition with an escape DC of 14 from one of the Aboleth's 4 tentacles. What this means is that the Aboleth can grapple up to 4 creatures, since that is the amount of tentacles that it has available to do so. Consume Memories causes its targets to make an intelligence saving throw, DC 16. The target is one creature within 30 feet that is charmed or grappled by the Aboleth. On a failed saving throw, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage. On a successful save, it takes half damage. And on a failure or success, the Aboleth gains the target's memories if the target is a humanoid and is reduced to 0 hit points by this action. Dominate Mind can be used twice per day. It is a Wisdom saving throw, DC 16. It targets one creature the Aboleth can see within 60 feet. On a failed saving throw, the target has the charmed condition until the Aboleth dies, or is on a different plane of existence from the target. While charmed, the target acts as an ally to the Aboleth, and is under its control while within 60 feet of it. In addition, the Aboleth and the target can communicate telepathically with each other over any distance. The target repeats the save whenever it takes damage, as well as after every 24 hours, it spends at least 1 mile away from the Aboleth, ending the effect on itself on a success. Moving on to legendary actions, we can see that the Aboleth has 3 uses of legendary action, but if it is encountered in its lair, it has 4 instead, which is quite a power boost. As for how legendary actions work in the 2024 Monster Manual, it says this. Immediately after another creature's turn, the Aboleth can expend a use to take one of the following actions. The Aboleth regains all expended uses at the start of each of its turns. Lash. The Aboleth makes 1 tentacle attack. Psychic Drain. If the Aboleth has at least 1 creature charmed or grappled, it uses Consume Memories and regains 1d10 hit points. As we can see here, the Aboleth has gotten some new abilities that have increased the potency of its stat block. Notably, the Aboleth has lost its tail attack and its enslave ability, but these have been replaced with the Consume Memories and Dominate Mind features. And it did lose the Detect Legendary Action option, which allowed it to make a Wisdom Perception check, but that was rarely used, if at all, when encountering an Aboleth in-game. Psychic Drain itself used to cost 2 legendary actions to use in the 2014 version, but with the changes to legendary actions, it is now something that the Aboleth can do just by expending a legendary action use. Overall, the Aboleth has seen some very unique changes here. It is quite different from its 2014 counterpart. Its tentacle attack no longer applies a curse, rather that is attached to the mucus cloud that the Aboleth exudes, and I believe that is a change for the better, because the mucus cloud is a constant emanation that is exuding around the Aboleth, which allows it to get into melee combat and attack with its tentacles and try to curse the enemies it is trying to put an end to. With this new version of the Aboleth, not only is it dealing more average damage with an increased options, specifically it being able to take up to 5 tentacle attacks per turn if you wanted to spend all 3 of its legendary actions to do so, or potentially 6 if it has an additional legendary action when it's in its lair. The Consume Memories ability does some interesting psychic damage, and thankfully it does half damage on a successful save as well, so that is something that you can reliably use and expect some damage out of. With the main changes of the Aboleth being, it has much better defenses than the old version, specifically from its increased hit points and its additional legendary resistances that it did not have in its old stat block. I believe with these changes, the Aboleth is a much more interesting creature. It is able to protect itself more readily against player characters that are seeking to harm it. And with the addition of legendary resistances, it is able to succeed on those saving throws that it needs to. And with the addition of proficiency in dexterity saving throws, that should be something it is able to do often, with it having no negative modifiers on its saving throws because of that additional proficiency now. Plus, with the changes of how initiative is calculated in these new stat blocks, the Aboleth having a +7 to its initiative bonus makes it a little more likely that the Aboleth might be going before the player characters in combat, which will increase the effectiveness of its abilities, especially it making sure that it attacks at least 2 creatures on its initial turn, grappling those targets, and then trying to either consume the memories of the creature or dominating its mind. The Aboleth is really going to want to make use out of that dominate mind feature as often as possible. I would start off combat with the Aboleth using its multi-attack to grapple as many creatures as possible, hopefully at least 2, since it can make 2 tentacle attacks, and then using that final option of its multi-attack to try to dominate mind. I would do this at least on its first 2 turns, try to charm 2 of the player characters with that dominate mind feature. Hopefully, if they manage to fail that saving throw, you can capitalize on that and then use that consume memories trait on your charmed targets and grappled targets, and make use of those legendary actions both to make tentacle attacks and regain hit points when needed from your grappled and charmed targets. Overall, I believe the Aboleth is a much beefier combatant with those increased defensive and offensive capabilities that work in tandem with each other, and this is really a much more balanced monster that should be able to last longer against a appropriately leveled party. With all that in mind, thank you all for watching this video. I had fun talking about this updated version of the Aboleth and the changes that have been made to it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me, and keep an eye out for my next video as I talk about the Air Elemental. Until then, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See you later.